Hey, everybody, welcome to our first call of 2026. How many of you have written stuff out and still are writing 2025? I always make that's one of my resolutions, a fun one at the end of the year is to see if I can start 2026 without ever writing the last year, but I did it on the very first one, so I kind of blew it. So I'm really excited for this call and I'm excited for this year. We have so many things in place in our business, in our company, finally in our IT, with the people that are in our company and running things. And oh my gosh, the branding and the assets that we are being given right now are so exciting. And so I'm just thrilled to have this call. And mostly I'm really thrilled and happy to be with our Juice Plus community because there's so much support here and it's not just about Juice Plus. I've had beautiful conversations with Juice Plus friends yesterday and today who are so supportive of some little bit of a health challenge I've gone through, all is well. But just the people that really care about me and us in this community is really beautiful. And I think 2026 is going to be even a greater bond that we're all going to have and connect to really create some more beautiful lives, impact people in ways that we have no idea what that even looks like. So to get started, I just realized, Jennifer, I never asked you for any kind of bio. So I'm going to make one up. Hopefully, it's going to be true. And you're seeing Jennifer Myers, who's a PMD Plus, 100 Club Plus member, Founders Award winner, and just such a legacy and legend in our company. And of course, for me, most of all, such a great friend, such a beautiful friend, and such a beautiful heart. But when you think about, I just want to give you just a touch. I knew Jennifer and Sean before they had kids. Think about that. Your kids are now in their mid 20s, and I mean, wait, how old is
Late.
Michaela? Late 20. Michaela's 26?
29.
29. Oh my God. So Jake is like 26, 27.
27. Mhm.
So just think about being able to watch an entire life unfold before your eyes and that you would never have met them if we didn't come together in this stage. It's really beautiful. But I think I'll just quickly, I want you to tell a little bit about your story, even selling magazines door to door, Jennifer, because it's such an amazing, crazy story, the way you and Sean started out so young. But what I want to say that's most important to me is Jennifer's generosity of spirit, of emotional support, of if I need a mentor, if I have a problem, I can call Jennifer and say, Jennifer, this is what's happening. Can you help me out? Whether it's in Juice Plus or in my life, and you've been there for both. So you guys are going to get a real treat. For those of you don't know Jennifer, you're going to meet her tonight for the first time. And Jennifer, I'm going to turn this over to you, and I want to hear about the magazines again.
Oh my gosh.
Do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'm so happy to be here. Happy New Year's, everybody. And Nikki, you know I feel the same way about you, my friend. And I've often called Nikki for advice and parenting and everything else. So it's been so fun just to how our families have woven together all these, well, decades now. It's just crazy. Okay, our story. Going way back machine. So Sean and I met in college, and what Miss Nikki is referring to is we both sold books door to door for the Southwestern Company, if you've ever heard of that. It's over 100-year-old company. And oh my goodness, we went to the, presentation, the opportunity meeting, and got sucked right into that. You know what? It's probably one of the best things. Um, I've ever done. Hardest thing I've ever done, for sure. But that is, isn't it interesting how saying yes to things sets you up for the next thing, sets you up for the next thing and the next thing. And honestly, we graduated from the University of Kansas with business degrees. We backpacked around the world for a year after that and came back. I was waitressing, waiting to get my real job, waiting for Sean to get his real job, and then I'd figure out what my real job was. And somebody introduced us to this company. And I'm going to tell you, I probably would not have said yes, Nikki, if I hadn't sold books door to door because I am an introvert. right? I don't, I'm not the one that's the first person out there doing things usually, right? And I just had the thought, wow, if I could do that, I can do this. And I said yes, and I'm so glad that I did. Now, Sean, I will say, thought it was a scam. I remember when he said, when I decided to do this, he said, I can't believe you're going to do this. I mean, he thoroughly thought that this was just a scam, and was super negative. But I just saw a way to make some extra money. That's how I came into this. I had no big vision really. I just thought, oh, I can make some extra money. I know I can sell these things. And I did. I had some success. And then I dragged Sean to a meeting and he saw the bigger picture. He's the one that saw, oh, wow, what if we built a team with this? Maybe we wouldn't have to go out and get real jobs. And that's what happened. He got started. He's the one that saw the bigger picture. He's the one that, set the big goals. And honestly, back then it was much more of a man's business. We were in water filters. That was before Juice Plus. Another story. I highly believed in the products, but it was an appliance. It was a gadget, and the marketing plan was a little different. And it was more of a man's business. And Sean went out and just man, I mean, worked and worked and broke through all of his stuff. And just in a nutshell, I will say he didn't really recruit anybody for about 6 months. And I remember he was going to quit. And I'm like, I think you can do this. I think you can do this. And something switched, you know? You give the pitch enough times, you do the do, you learn as you do it, you get better, and then wham, something flipped and he flew to national marketing director. And then I joined him later, right? And honestly, my for me, Nikki, my wheels and my excitement really came when Juice Plus was introduced because I love nutrition. I always have, and I've always been a huge believer in whole food nutrition. I was a swimmer very seriously, and I never took vitamins. I couldn't stomach them. I didn't believe in them. I really believed in diet and whole food nutrition. That's how I grew up. And so that's when things started really exploding for me. And my growth and my big journey really happened. And Nikki, you were around then, so you saw that switch. I believe, right?
I have a quick question because you said one thing that just really struck me is that it was also whatever switch was flipped for Sean. The beginning was you saying, I think you can do this.
Mhm.
Like having somebody that you love and that you trust, trusting in you and having confidence in you allows you to take something further. That's just a thought. And all I can think about is the first time we saw you in a room, you stood at the back of the room and you didn't want to even come to the front of the room to say, I'm Jennifer Myers.
Nope.
You wouldn't, I'm telling you guys, she wouldn't come to the front of the room to say her name. So talk about growth in some arena that flipped. I mean, yes, introvert's one thing, but not being able to say hello to people in front of a crowd and now being a speaker in front of thousands. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
For sure.
But
For sure.
you also had the support of
Mhm.
Sean and the people around that knew you and knew you could do it. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to add that in. That's
Thank
so
you,
important.
because he did the same for me, right? He did
Yeah,
on that topic. He wasn't, I believe in you. He was like, oh no, you're doing this.
not as gentle.
Not as gentle. I'm so glad he did, though. I wouldn't have done it. And I'm so glad he did because it's one of the joys of my life was that I was able to make those breakthroughs for myself and for others, right? Because that's how we have the impact that we get to have in this business, is through that growth and pushing through. And that actually tees into, what our topic's going to be tonight. But let me just carry on a little bit as far as our story
Yeah.
because it's been really remarkable. I never could have dreamt, when I signed that dealer application all those years ago, that it would be a career for me, first of all, and that we would be in the place where we really got to design our life. And Sean loves adventure. Did I mention we backpacked around the world for a year out of college? Yeah. Um, Before email, before all of that stuff, we were backpacking through China and, Thailand and India and all kinds of things. And nobody on the planet even knew where we were. We could have disappeared and nobody would have even known what country we were in. My poor mother. But yeah, we do adventurous things. And we bought a sailboat in our late 20s and we lived on our sailboat for a year, which was an absolute blast. That was before kids. And then, we decided, okay, we should probably get back on land after a year. Where do we want to move? We went from Kansas City, put our roots down in Denver because we could, we wanted to. We thought we would love that lifestyle and have. We had a couple of kids. And one of the greatest things for me personally about this business is I really got to be the mom that I wanted to be while, building this incredible business and income and lifestyle. So I was there when my kids got off the school bus. I got to be very active in their schools and their sports and all the things. And then Sean was ready for a new adventure. And so when the kids were 8 and 10, we bought a 50-foot catamaran. We sailed halfway around the world from the Virgin Islands to Australia for 15 months, homeschooled for that year, and just had this incredible adventure and got to do that while we were doing, this business. I mean, we really stepped out for that time period, but then we stepped right back in. And I mean, just where do you get to do something like that? It's just incredible to me what we've been able to do. And all the while, and most importantly, we're helping people. We have a purpose, you guys, that is so needed. I think needed more today than ever before. I mean, I don't know about you, but all the things that I see all over the place about the food supply and just the education that we do, the community, the arm in arm, two by two, we're doing this together, I'm here for you, all of that. It's just unheard of and it's incredible in my mind, and it still is. So this doesn't get old for me. I still love it, and I love what we do. So Nikki asked me to do this call because I just returned from a Tony Robbins event called Date with Destiny. And I did this with my daughter, Michaela. It was just amazing. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But we thought it would be fun to pull in some of those concepts, and some of those concepts Nikki's well aware of as well. But I think it really makes sense for us, to talk about this idea. Here we are, it's New Year's, brand new year, 2026. And I'm just wondering, maybe you, like I have done so many times, are thinking 2026, it's a new year. What am I going to do this year differently? And maybe you have these big goals and these big New Year's resolutions. Maybe not. What I can tell you is that the statistics show that really New Year's resolutions are only effective for about 8% of the population. Can you believe that? The rest will fail. I'm like, why are we doing that to ourselves? Why do we keep doing that every year, right? And so this year, I really wanted to do it very differently and really look at alignment instead. And a lot of that came about because of the Tony Robbins experience. And so let's talk about that. Did you guys write or create a word for 2026? Did anybody come up with a word for the year? I'd love to see it in the chat if you did.
I
Alignment, that's my word.
I know, isn't that funny? That's Heidi's word. And we are our next week, next Tuesday night, we're going to do a little workshop if you haven't done your word on creating your word for the year.
Great. Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, and I'm
Good.
still working on it. I haven't figured my word out. I've got a list of things, and I really want it to be like so touching to me, like it just thunks in my heart.
Good. That's as it should be. I want to listen to your training. You're so good at things like that. So alignment is my word, and so I feel like it's just a great question, and really looking at 2026 more of who must I become for my 2026 vision to happen, to be inevitable? So, what needs to happen? Who do I need to be to accomplish XYZ, right? By the end of the year. So, tonight really isn't about doing more, it's more about alignment. So, I want to make a couple of quick distinctions. First of all, goals really are about external outcomes, and alignment is more about your internal standard. It's really about your emotional drivers, and we're going to talk about that. So, when your alignment is clear and aligned, your actions become easier, it becomes much more obvious, what you're going to do. So, I also think about this, goals inform you of what you want, okay, where you want to go, but they don't inform your nervous system of how to behave when things get hard or uncomfortable. Think about that. Because with a goal, there's going to be uncomfortable, or should be, there should be some hard. So, what happens to your nervous system in that? And I have just been getting more and more aware of this process. And a lot of that is because of Tony Robbins and some of the work we've done with Brandon Barber, Nikki. And a lot of his work is from Tony Robbins, right? So I'll tell you real quickly, Michaela and I did this together. And what happened was um, over a little over a year ago, last October of the previous year, um, for her birthday, she had said, I want to do, a trip together. I want to do an experience together. Right. And so I came up with this little plan to do UPW, Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, with Alana, who she's friends with, and another gal, Tasha, who she's friends with. She's known since high school. And so we did that, and it was pretty funny because when we first got there, Michaela was like, I was kind of thinking a beach or something. She was not excited. She was not excited at all. And yet, during that process, that 3 day, this is the fire walking deal, the UPW, Unleash the Power Within. She bought the 1 year mastery program of Tony Robbins herself. I mean, I think that's, it's a lot of money. And she got to do multiple workshops in that. She went to Fiji, did life mastery and wealth mastery with Lauren LaHave. Lauren was the trainer, which was pretty funny. She's had incredible experiences. She has grown so much as a person from doing this. And included in that 1 year program is something called Date with Destiny, which is Tony's kind of crown jewel, right? And I had said, wow, that'd be really cool to do together. So earlier this year, she's like, I don't know, it was probably about June, May, whatever. She goes, Mom, Date with Destiny, December. You said, I'm like, oh boy, okay, what did I do? All right, here we go, Date with Destiny, $7,000 ticket later. Um, we did it together and I got to do Date with Destiny with Michaela. It was amazing. You don't get any sleep and you freeze. But truly an amazing, amazing experience. And to see the joy and to see the pivot and the growth that Michaela went through in this was worth every penny. I've done a lot of this work before, but wow, it was incredible. So one of the core things that Tony talks about is called the 6 human needs, and you may have heard of this. If you're a Tony Robbins fan, you probably have. There are 6 human needs, which are fundamental drivers within each one of us. Okay, so this is what compels us forward. This is what pushes us. It's like a quest to experience a life of meaning, and it's built into us. You don't really even have to try to feel these things because it's like primal. It's built in us, okay? So, I want you to jot these down if you don't know these. Number one, the first one is called certainty, and this is what drives a whole lot of people is certainty. So this is, safety and stability and consistency, right? And so you can imagine, especially right now in the world, I think we're as uncertain as human beings as we maybe have ever been in our lifetimes, just with the state of things. So certainty is way up. It always is, but it is up even more right now for people. Number two is uncertainty. That sounds weird. Certainty is a need, but uncertainty in terms of variety. Okay, so this would be like growth, challenge, novelty, that kind of thing. Number three is significance. So this is feeling seen, feeling important, feeling valued, right? That's significance. We all want those things to some degree. Number four is love and connection. So this is belonging, this is feeling love, this is closeness. Number five is growth, learning, expanding your capacity. Okay, all of those things. Number six is contribution. Huge. That's really about giving beyond yourself. Now, what I want to have you do real quick is I want you to think about which of these needs get check marked in your Juice Plus business. Okay. So if we go back at the top, like how does certainty show up in the Juice Plus world? Well, first of all, we have a pretty reliable income, that is pretty steady over time. We have some predictability of if I do my DMO this way, I kind of know these outcomes, right? And we have certainty in our product. We have confidence in that science and things like that. I mean, it's so cool that we have so much certainty. Okay, number two, variety though. How does that show up? New launches, new people, travel, new events. How fun is it to discover, oh my gosh, I love doing sourdough events or making fire cider or whatever. However you like to do that. You get to be very, very creative in Juice Plus and how you do your business. Maybe you're targeting medical professionals, maybe you're targeting athletes or mommies or whatever. It's up to you. So many ways you can do this. Number three, significance. So, what's that look like? That looks like rank, recognition, impact, um, you know, significance doing team calls, all kinds of things. Being able to share your story creates significance. How about love and connection? Wow. In Juice Plus, ooh, we've got that in spades. Community, right? Team culture. We have a shared mission that we do together. I mean, I could go on and on with stories about that. We don't have time. Growth, your leadership skills, your health mastery, personal development, public speaking, helping, contribution is helping. How about helping families? Nikki, I remember when you did that, touching, however many thousands of lives. That was such a wonderful, wonderful thing to focus on. The ripple effect that we have in our business. So I want you to put a check mark next to the needs, those six human needs that you get to fulfill in your business. And then I want you to think about, okay, because we all get some of this, but what are the top two to three that are significant for you, right? Which are the top two or three that you get from your business? And what I will tell you is that if you are meeting like four or more of these needs, you are much more likely to do the thing, right? Um, to actually go out and do it and spend your time if you are meeting those needs. So, and I wish we had more time, Nikki, because this is 30 minutes, right? Actually, I think we only have 5 more minutes. Is that right?
We can go a little bit over. We
Little
can
bit-
go 5 or 10 minutes over,
Okay.
and because it's a recording and they can watch it, and I know you have so much to offer.
Okay. All right. I'll try and buzz through this, but I really want you guys to take it. This was such a huge aha for me when I got this and really got to see how we get to fulfill these needs in spades in our business, all of them. For me, all of them. But what is running the show for you? And it's really amazing um, that when you can pivot, okay, from just like certainty and some of those first ones into the more spiritual ones of love and connection, and especially growth and contribution, when you are working your business from that place, wow, the fulfillment that you will get is incredible. And think about, though, how can you bring all of these in? Maybe you're not experiencing variety in your business. So I challenge you, what can you do this year differently that would fulfill that, or the significance piece? Or more growth. Maybe you have stopped growing, you've stagnated. How can you give yourself a little kick in the rear and get some more growth going? Okay, it's worth it. And you want to fulfill all of those and then have gratitude. It's like take the time to realize when, oh my gosh, I'm really fulfilling this by doing that. I'm really, really feeling the growth here. And that is a human need. So I shouldn't fight that, right? I should want that and I'm going to go do it. So it's be mindful of all that. Post that, you guys, because it's incredible. Another area that I really wanted to just talk about for a few minutes, and this is a huge exercise with Tony. And I saw such incredible movement with Michaela and who she is as a human in doing this work. And it is about spotlighting really what are the values and emotions that you want to move towards, and what are those emotions that you want to move away from? You could just put a line down on your paper and have one column of this is what I'm moving towards. I want to. These are the things I want to move away from. So, what are the types of things that you might want to move towards? You want more of these emotions like love, joy, peace, calm, confidence, freedom, vitality, gratitude. Maybe put something in the chat, as a matter of fact, of what are one or two things that are really stand out of emotions that you want more of and you want to feel in your life. You're moving towards. Put it in the chat. Joy, passion, trust, trust, yeah, connection, confidence. That's a good one, Nancy. Good. Love, trust, gratitude. Good. Those are wonderful. Okay. What are the things that we want to move away from? Okay. That our brain really wants, it's going to try hard to avoid. That would be things like overwhelm, pressure, inconsistency. Oh, I see insecurity. That's a good one. Burnout, right? Guilt, self-doubt, failure, fear, embarrassment, rejection, negativity, like all that stuff that we don't want to feel in our life. Well, here is a huge aha and tool for you guys. You get to write the rule around these emotions. So, for instance, if you're somebody that is saying that you want to feel more joy in your life, and maybe you're not having that joyful of a time, there's a lot of people under a lot of stress right now. Well, but what's the rule around when do you get to claim that, oh, I am feeling joy in my life, right? I'm experiencing joy in my life. A lot of us have rules that are making it kind of hard to be able to claim that, right? And you get to change that. Make your rule easy. So let's say that one rule could be, gosh, if somebody smiles at me, I'm going to feel love. I'm going to feel joy, from that. And that's a small thing, right? That's easy to achieve. If your rule was, that you had to, I don't know, I'm just making this up on the fly, but if your rule made it much harder for you to say, oh, I felt joy, don't do that. Make it easy. Make it easy to say, oh, I am grateful. How about standing in a hot shower? I
Mm.
went to Mexico with our family and built a home with this group of people for people who lived in a box, with rainwater going through their floor that was mud and no running. I mean, it's horrible. I get into my shower so many times and that was how many years ago? I still think about it. I
Yeah.
think about them. I think about how grateful I am that I've got a hot shower, right? So you do that probably just about every day. You can take that moment and feel gratitude. Does that make sense? And
Jennifer,
also,
oh,
yes,
well, I don't know if there's a good time to interrupt, but I did an interesting thing with the group, and I think I'm going to try it with people in my team that want to try this. It's the coolest thing ever. It was in relationship to Hanukkah, because Hanukkah is a holiday of miracle. And I don't go through the history of it, but it's 8 days of miracle. And so a woman put together a program where there were 40 of us on a thread where every day we had to post 1 to 3 miracles that happened to us that day with 40 people. So you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to read all these messages. Well, instead of stupid scrolling, I am scrolling through people's miracles. And they're as simple as I went for a walk today at sunrise. I never get up at sunrise. And I found myself dancing on a bridge. And it was like, oh my God, it was so beautiful. So noticing, oh, I found the other matching sock that I've been looking for a month. That was a miracle. Like finding the things that are so small that can delight you and you can name them a miracle. So, anyway, it was just so much fun. And it's just what you're talking about. You get to set the rule. Who would think that a miracle would be a matching sock? But it
totally.
was.
That is beautiful. I love that exercise. What a great idea. Right. I mean, just being out in nature, walking out into a yard, having your feet in the grass, that all those things. This is stuff that can create gratitude, calm, joy, peace, love, many of the things that you guys put in the chat. Okay, so now what about those things that you're moving away from? The fear, the failure, the rejection, and all of that. You want to make your rule hard to feel those things.
Wow.
I'm only going to feel failure, if I quit. I'm only going to feel rejection if what? Make it something that's hard. If maybe 20 no's in a day, you would feel rejection. I don't know. But make it so that your rule around it's your rule. You get to set it and you get to change it. So make those things that you don't want to experience hard, meaning it's not going to show up in your life because XYZ has to happen before you actually feel burned out or pressure or overwhelmed. Does that make sense? I hope
Yeah.
I explained that okay.
No, like I'm only going to feel rejection if somebody actually spits in my face.
Yes,
That has not
exactly.
happened in 75 years to me. That's a really hard rule. I could never feel rejection because that's my rule for rejection. They have to
That's
spit
it.
in my face.
That is it. I love that. And when you think about like these rules around what are you moving towards, and let's say it's love, it's joy, it's confidence, it's all of these beautiful things. What would change in your daily life and your actions if this emotion became your standard? How would you show up on calls? How would you show up in conversations? How would you treat your body? All of these things. So I think this exercise was just incredible. And it was a really interesting aha um, with Michaela in that she had a lot of things that were dependent on other people, right? And if a word ends with ed, like loved, wanted, things like that, that's dependent on somebody else. No, let it be you, let it be your internal feeling, if that makes sense. So I thought that was just a game changer. I know it was for us. And I want to talk about one more idea really quickly. And I just love the study of neuroscience. And Brandon Barber, who Nikki and I have both done a lot of work with, and I think he's incredible, and he's doing a selling mastermind this week. And we're doing that. So, what he talked about yesterday was, I thought, so impactful. And that is that your brain is going to resist anything that's going to cause you fear, risk, cause you to feel these things of fear, of risk, of rejection, of danger, because your number one priority of your brain is to keep you safe. Okay. And part of that safety is to keep you with what is familiar because that feels safe to your brain. Even when it's not safe, you guys, I mean, you probably know people who have been in bad relationships, for instance, and they've stayed in them and they're not safe, and yet they're familiar. We always hear the stories of people, getting going back to jail and all of these things because it's familiar. So your brain wants to protect that familiar thing and it wants to protect your identity. Okay, so think about that for just a minute. It wants to protect your identity. So if your identity is, oh, I'm an introvert, I can't be a speaker, I'm an introvert, right? Or maybe, I'm not a gym person, right? I'm not a salesperson. So if you have created that as an identity for yourself, and then you set a goal that's in conflict with that identity,
Oh,
your brain is going to fight it. And I'll tell you, this was a big aha for me. I got this so clearly of how my brain fights those identities. All right, because it wants to keep your identity intact. And so think about this. Where have you made an I am statement about yourself
ugh,
that isn't serving you? Um, because in that fight, your brain fight, your brain, you might find yourself starting to self-sabotage or procrastinate or excuses or reasons for not doing the thing. And it's very, very convincing because your brain is fighting yourself, it's fighting your own goal. Um, does that make sense? And guess who wins? Your brain is usually the one that wins. And it's really interesting. And Nikki knows Sean so well. And I don't know anybody in my life that masters his thoughts as well as Sean, maybe Tony Robbins. Okay. But I watch Sean master his thoughts and choose what he wants, and then makes it happen, sometimes against all odds. And he uses that word, I choose happy, I choose this and then does it. You guys, this is really powerful stuff. And sometimes we have to interrupt our own pattern of thinking and choose differently and go, whoa, wait, wait, wait. How can I reach for a better thought? How can I reach for a better identity? How can I reach for a higher energy and a new identity that would be good for me? So we could go on a lot more about this, but it's really, really powerful. And this is why my word is alignment for 2026, because I want to align my thoughts, my actions, my life with what I want to do. I'm pretty good at it, and I know I can up level it to another level this year. So, what would you want to align with this year? And do you need to create a new identity in order to accomplish that? So whatever the thing is, for you at the end of 2026 to say this year was so awesome and successful, what would need to happen at the end of the year? And then what do you want to align with getting there? And here's a question that you guys, or a statement that you guys could write down um, to help you with this. In 2026, I'm the kind of person or the kind of leader who meets my need for blank. Remember the six needs, human needs, through blank while prioritizing blank. So an example might be I meet my need for significance through what? Contribution, could be contribution, while prioritizing what? Fun? I don't know. You guys fill in the blanks. I meet my need for certainty through what? Um, my own self-trust, maybe through my DMO in Juice Plus, right? While prioritizing what? You're not giving up those values that are important to you, your family, your own health, all of those things. Does that make sense? So, work with this, you guys, a little bit. Here's my workbook from Tony Robbins. I mean, this thing is like a treasure for me. And I keep going back into it and getting into these exercises and working with it. And we can just keep up leveling ourselves by doing this work and finding that alignment. Okay. Oh, I want to read it just if I see some of your I see some of your statements in here. I meet my need for, okay, I think I saw was that, oh, I feel joy when I am helping someone. I like that. Good. You guys work on this. You're going to like it. And just know too, alignment isn't loud, it's consistent. Okay. So when who you are and what you do are in alignment, they're matching, momentum becomes natural, it becomes easy, it becomes fun, and it compounds on itself. So that's how I'm going into 2026. It's
Wow.
not loud. It's just it has this quiet, consistent feel for it for me behind the scenes. So back to you, Nikki. Sorry I went so
Yeah.
long.
No, no, I think it was really perfect. I think we really got some important things for 2026. Somebody just wrote something. In 2026, I'm the kind of leader that meets my needs for certainty through connection and communication while prioritizing the lives and needs of others. Wow.
Nice,
Heidi,
Heidi.
on the spot. That's beautiful.
Really great.
But I would love to challenge all of you, at least on our Voxer chats or wherever you have Voxer with your teams, is to write that out and put that out there to the rest of your partners so that they can see what you're looking forward to and moving towards your future vision. So, wow, the call was incredible. I want to just have everybody unmute. By the way, next week, Transformation Tuesday is with Heidi, and she's going to be leading us on finding your word. So don't forget that. And third week will be tips and tools, and then the rest of the month we're free. So I just want you to unmute your lines tonight, and can you come up with one word that has you feeling something from this call tonight, whatever that word is? Just unmute yourself and let's hear what your one word is for tonight.
Grateful.
Encouraged. Inspired.
Inspired.
Empowered.
Oh, empowered. That's beautiful.
Encouraged.
Yes, encouraged.
Great.
Encouraged.
All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We've got lots of things to do over the week. Take a look at boards, see all the stuff about the next incentives and all the bundles that are happening right now. Don't forget to take a look at all that. And I love you all so much.
Thank
Good
you.
night. And
Bye,
you
Thank you,
Bye,
Jennifer. Good night.
Jennifer.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you,
Happy New
Jennifer.
Year.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Jen.
Bye.